Imagine the Ottoman Empire on the brink of collapse in 1596, teetering on the edge of defeat at the Battle of Keresztes. The Habsburg forces, with their relentless assault, have driven the Ottomans to the brink, making victory seem impossible. But just when all hope appears lost, something extraordinary happens, a dramatic turnaround that defies the odds. How did the Ottomans, facing near certain defeat, stage an incredible comeback and seize victory from the jaws of destruction? In this video, we unravel the gripping events of the Battle of Keresztes, revealing the decisive moments, daring strategies, and heroic leadership that transformed a dire situation into one of history's most unexpected victories. Join us as we explore the battle that reshaped the fate of the Ottoman Empire and turned the tide of European history. The late 16th century was a period of intense geopolitical tension and rivalry, particularly between the Ottoman Empire and the European powers, with the Habsburg monarchy being the Ottomans' primary adversary. This era was shaped by the legacy of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, whose reign had brought the Ottoman Empire to the pinnacle of its power, extending its reach deep into Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. However, Suleiman's death in 1566 marked the beginning of a period of both opportunity and vulnerability for the empire he left behind. His son, Sultan Mehmed III, who ascended to the throne in 1595, inherited not only the vast territories of the empire but also its numerous challenges. Mehmed III, unlike his predecessors, was relatively inexperienced in military matters, having been largely confined to the palace throughout his early life, a common practice for Ottoman princes to prevent fratricidal struggles. His ascension came at a time when the empire was showing signs of strain under the weight of its own expansion. Internally, the Ottoman Empire was grappling with deep-seated issues that threatened its stability. The vast and diverse empire, which had been unified under strong leadership during Suleiman's reign, was now facing problems of corruption, inefficient administration, and the growing autonomy of provincial governors who were becoming increasingly difficult to control. The Janissaries, the elite military corps that had been the backbone of the empire's military power, were becoming a political force in their own right, often more interested in their own privileges than in the welfare of the state. These internal challenges were compounded by economic difficulties, partly due to the costs of maintaining a vast empire and the disruptions in trade routes caused by ongoing conflicts. Externally, the situation was equally precarious. The Habsburg monarchy, which controlled large parts of Central Europe, was the principal rival of the Ottomans. The Habsburgs had been engaged in a long-standing struggle against Ottoman expansion into Europe, particularly in Hungary, which had been a battleground between the two powers for decades. The Treaty of Adrianople in 1568 had brought a temporary halt to the hostilities, but this truce was increasingly fragile. The Habsburgs, who had suffered significant territorial losses to the Ottomans, were eager to reclaim their former possessions and push back against the Ottoman advance. They saw the relatively inexperienced Mehmed III as an opportunity to regain the upper hand. The situation in Hungary was particularly critical. Hungary had been divided into three parts: Royal Hungary, which was under Habsburg control, the Principality of Transylvania, which was an Ottoman vassal state, and the Central Region, which was directly under Ottoman control. The Ottomans were determined to consolidate their control over this strategically vital region, which served as a gateway to further expansion into Central Europe. However, their ambitions were increasingly being met with stiff resistance from the Habsburgs, who were rallying Christian Europe to their cause. The Pope and other European leaders, alarmed by the continued Ottoman presence in Europe, called for a united Christian front against the Ottomans. This led to the formation of a broad coalition that included not only the Habsburgs, but also other European states that were eager to curb Ottoman influence. In the midst of these rising tensions, both the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy began to prepare for what seemed like an inevitable conflict. The Ottomans, under the leadership of Mehmed III, embarked on a massive military campaign, mobilizing their forces for an invasion that would reinforce their dominance in Hungary and demonstrate their continued strength in the face of European opposition. Mehmed III, despite his inexperience, understood the symbolic importance of leading this campaign personally. It was an opportunity to assert his authority and secure his legacy, as a capable ruler in the shadow of his illustrious predecessors. The Habsburgs, on the other hand, were equally determined to resist. They marshaled their forces, drawing on support from their allies across Europe, and fortified their positions in anticipation of the Ottoman advance. The Habsburgs, aware that this confrontation could determine the future balance of power in Europe, spared no effort in their preparations. They sought to exploit the internal weaknesses of the Ottoman Empire, hoping that a decisive victory would not only reclaim lost territories, but also encourage further rebellions within the empire. The road to battle was marked by a series of skirmishes and diplomatic maneuvers as both sides jockeyed for position. The Ottomans advanced through Hungary, capturing several key fortresses along the way, while the Habsburgs sought to delay their progress and gather reinforcements. Tensions escalated as both sides realized that the coming battle would be a climactic moment in the struggle between Christian Europe and the Muslim Ottoman Empire, a struggle that had defined much of the history of the 16th century. As the armies of the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy converged on the plains near the town of Keresztes, the stage was set for one of the most significant battles of the era. The Battle of Keresztes, which would take place in 1596, was not just a military engagement, but a defining moment in the long conflict between two great empires. The battle would be a test of strength, strategy, and willpower, with the outcome having far-reaching consequences for the future of both the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy, as well as the broader balance of power in Europe. The prelude to the Battle of Keresztes thus stands as a period of intense strategic calculation, where both empires prepared to stake everything on the outcome of a single, monumental clash. In the years leading up to the Battle of Keresztes, both the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy were engaged in a tense and strategic preparation for what they knew would be a decisive and monumental clash. The Ottomans, under the leadership of Sultan Mehmed III, were intent on reinforcing their hold over Hungary, a region that had long been a flashpoint in the struggle between the Christian and Islamic worlds. Sultan Mehmed III, newly ascended to the throne after the death of his father, Sultan Mehmed III, was eager to prove his military capabilities and assert his authority over the empire. The Ottoman military machine, renowned for its discipline and effectiveness, was mobilized on a grand scale. The Ottomans carefully assembled a vast and powerful army, drawing not only from their core Anatolian and Balkan territories, but also from their vassal states and distant provinces. This army was a diverse and formidable force, consisting of experienced janissaries, elite cavalry units known as sipahi, and irregular troops like the akinci, whose role was to conduct raids and weaken the enemy before the main confrontation. The logistics behind such a massive military campaign were immense, with the Ottomans ensuring that their supply lines were secure and that they could sustain a prolonged campaign deep into enemy territory. On the other side, the Habsburg monarchy, led by Archduke Maximilian III, recognized the existential threat posed by Ottoman ambitions. The Habsburgs were not just defending their territories, they were defending the very heart of Christian Europe. The Habsburg strategy involved not only military preparations, but also extensive diplomatic efforts to build a coalition capable of countering the Ottoman advance. The Holy Roman Empire, Spain, and other Catholic states were rallied under the banner of defending Christendom, with the Pope himself encouraging a united front against the Ottomans. This coalition was crucial, as it brought together a diverse array of forces, each with its own motivations but united by a common enemy. The Habsburgs also worked to fortify key positions, particularly in Hungary, where they strengthened castles, expanded fortifications, and prepared to defend against the inevitable Ottoman onslaught. The road to battle was marked by a series of smaller engagements and skirmishes, as both sides tested each other's strength and resolve. These encounters served to heighten the tension, with each side probing for weaknesses and attempting to gain a strategic advantage. The Ottomans conducted raids into Habsburg territory, seeking to disrupt their preparations and demoralize their forces. The Habsburgs, in turn, launched counter-raids and fortified their positions, determined to hold the line against the Ottoman advance. The broader context of this buildup was a Europe deeply divided by religious and political conflicts, yet temporarily united by the common threat posed by the Ottoman Empire. The conflict was fueled by deep-seated territorial disputes, religious tensions, and the ambition for dominance in Central and Eastern Europe. Both the Ottomans and the Habsburgs understood that the upcoming battle would not just decide the fate of Hungary, but could potentially shift the balance of power in Europe. The road to Keresztes was thus a period of intense and deliberate preparation, where both empires engaged in a high-stakes game of strategy, diplomacy, and military might, each side fully aware that the outcome of the impending battle would have far-reaching consequences for the future of the region and their respective empires. By September 1596, the tension between the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy had escalated to a breaking point, setting the stage for the monumental Battle of Keresztes. Sultan Mehmed III, leading the Ottoman forces, had meticulously prepared an army that was not only vast but strategically formidable, consisting of around 100,000 troops. This force included the disciplined Janissaries, who were the elite infantry units of the empire, the fearsome Sipahi cavalry known for their speed and mobility, and an artillery division equipped with cannons that were among the most advanced in the world at the time. The Ottomans, drawing on the full extent of their empire's resources, aimed to deliver a crushing blow to the Habsburg forces and secure Hungary, which was a crucial region in their broader strategy to dominate Central Europe. The military campaign was not just about territorial conquest, but also about asserting Ottoman power and reinforcing their image as the dominant Muslim empire. On the Habsburg side, the situation was equally intense. Recognizing the Ottoman threat, the Habsburgs had managed to assemble a massive coalition army of around 300,000 troops, an impressive force that demonstrated the gravity of the situation and the widespread alarm in Europe over Ottoman expansion. This coalition was a diverse assembly of forces from Austria, Bohemia, Transylvania, Hungary, and other European states, each contributing troops in a rare display of unity against a common enemy. The leadership of Archduke Maximilian III was crucial in coordinating this multinational force, which was driven by the urgent need to defend Christian Europe from what many saw as an existential threat. The Habsburg coalition was not just a military alliance, but a political statement, representing the collective will of Europe to resist Ottoman domination. As both sides mobilized, the preparations for battle were marked by a series of strategic maneuvers, as each army sought to gain the upper hand before the inevitable clash. The Ottomans, confident in their military prowess, advanced methodically, securing key positions and fortifying their supply lines, ensuring that they were fully prepared for a prolonged conflict if necessary. Meanwhile, the Habsburg forces, aware of the Ottoman strengths, focused on reinforcing their defensive positions and ensuring that their diverse troops could operate effectively together despite differences in language, culture, and military tactics. The march toward the battlefield near Keresztes was fraught with tension, as both armies knew that the upcoming battle would not only determine control over Hungary, but could also shift the balance of power in Europe. For the Ottomans, a victory would mean the consolidation of their hold over Hungary and a clear path for further incursions into European territories. For the Habsburgs and their allies, the battle represented a desperate attempt to halt Ottoman expansion and protect the sovereignty of Christian Europe. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation, as soldiers and commanders alike prepared for what would be one of the most significant and bloody confrontations of the 16th century, with the fate of empires hanging in the balance. On September 26, 1596, the Battle of Keresztes unfolded as a monumental clash between the Ottoman Empire and the Habsburg monarchy, marking a pivotal chapter in their prolonged conflict. Sultan Mehmed III, commanding the Ottoman forces, had meticulously assembled a vast and well-coordinated army, with each unit strategically positioned for maximum impact. The central position of the Ottoman formation was occupied by the elite hussars, renowned for their tactical prowess and swift maneuverability, designed to spearhead the main assault and exploit any weaknesses in the enemy's lines. Flanking them on the right wing were the Rumelian forces, led by the experienced Vizier Mehmed Pasha. This wing was reinforced by seasoned troops drawn from the Ottoman heartlands, including Macedonia and Thrace, bringing both familiarity with terrain and battle-hardened skills to the forefront. On the left wing, Vizier Sokoluzade Hassan Pasha commanded troops from Karaman, Halep, and Maras, positioning them to execute a flanking maneuver that aimed to encircle and pressure the Habsburg forces. The Ottomans' tactical deployment was a calculated effort to leverage their diverse military assets and overwhelm the enemy through strategic positioning and concentrated force. The Habsburg coalition, commanded by Archduke Maximilian III, leveraged a powerful and strategically placed artillery force that played a decisive role in the conflict. The Habsburgs had deployed over 300 cannons, an impressive concentration of firepower that far outmatched the Ottoman artillery in both range and destructive capability. These cannons were meticulously arranged in a way that created a formidable defensive line, stretching across the front of the coalition's army and aimed to dominate the battlefield. Positioned at critical points, including elevated terrain where they could fire more effectively, the Habsburg artillery unleashed a sustained and devastating barrage from the outset of the engagement. The shells from these cannons pounded the Ottoman center relentlessly, where Sultan Mehmed III was personally leading his troops, inflicting catastrophic damage. The sheer volume and precision of the cannon fire resulted in significant casualties among the Ottoman soldiers, disrupting their formations and undermining their ability to effectively counter the Habsburg advances. The continuous bombardment not only wreaked havoc on the Ottoman ranks, but also created a psychological impact, demoralizing the Ottoman forces and compounding the confusion and disorder within their lines. The destructive power of the Habsburg artillery thus played a critical role in breaking the Ottoman resistance, severely impairing their tactical capabilities and contributing to the eventual shift in momentum during the battle. As the Battle of Keresztes unfolded, the Ottoman center, directly commanded by Sultan Mehmed III, found itself under severe duress. The Janissaries, revered as the elite infantry and a pillar of Ottoman military strength, struggled to withstand the relentless pressure applied by the Habsburg coalition. Despite their rigorous training and battlefield expertise, the Janissaries faced an onslaught from the Habsburgs' superior firepower and tactical coordination. The Habsburg artillery, numbering over 300 cannons with superior range and destructive capability, unleashed a continuous barrage that devastated the Ottoman formations, targeting critical positions and inflicting heavy casualties. This relentless bombardment not only caused physical destruction, but also disrupted the Ottoman command structure, leading to chaos and confusion among the troops. Concurrently, the Habsburg infantry, equipped with advanced muskets and rifles, delivered accurate and sustained gunfire, exacerbating the Janissaries' difficulties. The advanced European weaponry, combined with effective tactical maneuvers such as enfilading fire, eroded the Ottoman defenses and pushed the Janissaries back despite their valor. This shift in battlefield dynamics underscored the challenges faced by traditional Ottoman tactics against the evolving military strategies and technologies of the late 16th century, revealing the profound impact of European innovations on the outcome of the battle. In the heat of the Battle of Keresztes, as the Ottoman forces struggled under the relentless assault of the Habsburg artillery and musket fire, Mehmed III made a desperate yet deeply symbolic move to reverse the tide. Retreating to the safety of his command tent, he sought solace and strength in the sacred cardigan of Prophet Muhammad, a relic of profound spiritual importance that was believed to confer divine protection and blessings. This revered garment, treasured for centuries and associated with the spiritual lineage of the Ottoman sultans, was more than just a physical item. It was a potent symbol of the divine legitimacy and authority of the Ottoman Caliphate. By donning this sacred relic, Sultan Mehmed III aimed to invoke the spiritual favor of Prophet Muhammad, hoping to harness its supposed divine power to inspire his beleaguered troops and shift the momentum of the battle. With the cardigan draped over him and the Caliphate's flag firmly in hand, Mehmed III reappeared on the battlefield in a dramatic display of leadership and faith. This act was not merely a personal gesture, but a profound statement intended to revive the morale of his forces and reassert his role as both a temporal and spiritual leader. The sight of their sultan, adorned with the sacred relic and bearing the emblem of their faith, was meant to invigorate the Ottoman soldiers, reminding them of their divine mission and the sacred duty they were fighting to uphold. In this moment of crisis, Mehmed III's aim was to galvanize his troops by appealing to their spiritual convictions and the larger cause they represented, transforming the battlefield into a stage where divine intervention and human resolve would converge. His hope was that this act of piety and leadership would rekindle their fighting spirit, rally their courage, and turned the battle's fortunes in their favor against the formidable Habsburg forces. As the Battle of Keresztes intensified, the Ottoman forces, despite their resolute valor and the inspiring presence of Mehmed III, increasingly found themselves outmatched by the formidable Habsburg artillery and their meticulously coordinated assaults. The Ottoman army, though strategically deployed and bolstered by elite units such as the Janissaries and Hussars, struggled to maintain cohesion under the relentless pressure of over 300 powerful cannons, whose superior range and destructive capabilities wreaked havoc on the Ottoman ranks. The Habsburg artillery's devastating barrages targeted critical points within the Ottoman formation, creating gaps and inflicting heavy casualties. The coordination of the Habsburg forces, which included a diverse coalition of European states, added to the complexity and ferocity of the conflict. The battle had evolved beyond a mere clash of armies into a pivotal confrontation with far-reaching consequences for the ongoing struggle between the Ottoman Empire and the European powers. Each side recognized that the outcome would not only determine the immediate control of the battlefield, but also significantly influence the broader geopolitical landscape. For the Ottomans, the defeat would signal a severe setback in their ambitions to expand further into Central Europe, while for the Habsburgs, a victory would consolidate their position and reaffirm their resistance against Ottoman expansion. The clash at Keresztes thus epitomized the high stakes and dramatic intensity of the era, with both sides fighting not only for immediate tactical gains but also for the future of their empires and the balance of power in Europe. As the Battle of Keresztes reached its critical juncture on September 26, 1596, the Ottoman forces found themselves on the brink of catastrophic defeat. Sultan Mehmed III's meticulously assembled army was under severe strain, particularly on the right wing, where Vizier Mehmed Pasha's forces faced devastating setbacks from the Habsburg onslaught. The Habsburg coalition, with its formidable artillery of over 300 cannons, unleashed a relentless bombardment that ravaged the Ottoman center, where Mehmed III was personally directing the fight. This overwhelming firepower led to the capture of key Ottoman cannons, severely compromising the Ottomans' ability to mount an effective defense. Elite Janissaries, traditionally the backbone of Ottoman military might, struggled under the intense pressure from Habsburg rifle fire and cannonades, resulting in significant casualties and a faltering defense. In this dire situation, Mehmed III made a desperate but symbolic move by retreating to his tent to don the sacred cardigan of Prophet Muhammad, a revered relic believed to offer divine protection and strength. By taking up the Caliphate's flag, Sultan Mehmed III sought to reaffirm his leadership and rally his troops with renewed fervor and a sense of divine support. His return to the battlefield, clad in such revered attire, was a potent symbol intended to inspire and galvanize his forces. Meanwhile, the morale of the Ottomans received a crucial boost from unexpected sources, including the Karakaluku or camp servants, who, despite their lack of proper weapons, fought with improvised tools like pickaxes and shovels, showing remarkable bravery and resilience. The Crimean forces, witnessing Mehmed III's steadfastness and the revived Ottoman spirit, re-engaged with renewed determination, and Anatolian troops, who had been holding their ground, came to the aid of the beleaguered Janissaries. Some Rumelian soldiers, despite earlier retreats, managed to regroup and continue their resistance against the Habsburg left wing. This concerted effort, combining the Sultan's symbolic leadership with the determined actions of both regular and auxiliary troops, led to a dramatic resurgence. The Ottoman forces managed to launch a decisive counterattack, regain lost ground, and shift the momentum of the battle, transforming an imminent defeat into a hard-fought victory that would significantly impact the broader conflict between the Ottoman Empire and European powers. The Ottoman counterattack at the Battle of Keresztes, which unfolded with startling intensity and precision, marked a dramatic reversal in the conflict's fortunes. Initially, the Habsburg forces, buoyed by their superior artillery and numerical advantage, seemed poised for a decisive victory. The Crusaders, underestimating the resilience of the Ottoman forces, believed their triumph was imminent. However, the unexpected resurgence of the Ottoman army, spearheaded by Sultan Mehmed III, who had reasserted his leadership with renewed vigor and strategic acumen, took the Habsburg coalition by surprise. The Sultan's personal reappearance on the battlefield, coupled with the rallying of his troops, reinvigorated the Ottoman forces. Fueled by a surge in morale and a tactical reorientation, the Ottomans launched a coordinated and ferocious counter-offensive that overwhelmed the Crusaders' defenses. The sheer suddenness and effectiveness of the Ottoman assaults caused confusion and disarray among the Habsburg ranks, who had become complacent in their perceived superiority. The consequences of this revitalized Ottoman assault were severe. The Crusaders experienced catastrophic losses, with approximately 50,000 of their troops killed in the intense combat. This staggering death toll not only dealt a significant blow to the Habsburg forces, but also crippled their capacity to sustain their military campaign. In addition to the massive human cost, the Ottomans secured a substantial war bounty, including 10,000 pieces of gold and over 300 captured German cannons. The capture of these cannons was particularly significant as it deprived the Habsburgs of their advanced artillery, which had previously given them a critical edge. This haul not only bolstered the Ottoman armory, but also diminished the Habsburgs' military capabilities. The aftermath of the Battle of Keresztes was pivotal for the Ottoman Empire. Despite facing dire circumstances in a near-defeat scenario, the Ottomans demonstrated remarkable resilience and strategic brilliance. The victory reaffirmed their military dominance and sent a resounding message to their European adversaries about the formidable strength and endurance of their forces. This triumph solidified the Ottoman position in Hungary and showcased their ability to overcome severe challenges. The battle underscored the Ottomans' strategic adaptability and their enduring capacity to counteract European opposition, thereby reinforcing their dominance in the region and significantly altering the course of the ongoing conflict with the Habsburg monarchy. The Battle of Keresztes was more than just a military engagement. It was a pivotal moment that symbolized the shifting dynamics between European and Ottoman forces. The decisive Ottoman victory underscored the enduring strength of the Ottoman Empire amidst the escalating challenges posed by European powers. This battle was not only a testament to the Ottomans' military prowess, but also highlighted the crucial role of leadership and morale in transforming seemingly dire situations into triumphs. Mehmed III's bold leadership and the renewed determination of his troops turned the tide, illustrating how strategic brilliance and unwavering resolve can overcome even the most formidable adversaries. As the dust settled on the battlefield of Keresztes, the resounding Ottoman victory not only redefined the conflict with the Habsburg monarchy, but also cemented the Ottoman Empire's enduring legacy of resilience and strategic prowess. Sudden and decisive counterattack, led by Sultan Mehmed II and supported by reinvigorated troops, turned the tide against overwhelming odds and showcased the formidable nature of Ottoman military strength. The battle's outcome, marked by the staggering losses of the Crusader forces and the significant capture of enemy artillery, not only altered the trajectory of the ongoing conflict but also sent a powerful message across Europe about the Ottomans' unyielding dominance. This momentous clash stands as a testament to the Ottomans' strategic brilliance and their ability to overcome even the most daunting challenges. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's pivotal battles, make sure to subscribe for more engaging content and insights. Stay tuned for more fascinating explorations of historical events and their impact on the world. Subscribe now to join us on this journey through history.